7 p.m. the Lebanon High School at the Lebanon High School in the Herman B. Wells Community Center. The Board of School Trustees of the Lebanon Community School Corporation are holding a pre-formal bargaining hearing, a 2027 GO bond project hearing, and a regular meeting to follow. We previously had our budget meeting, but I'll go ahead and call this to order. And if we could start with the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Parks, you looked at me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. All members are present, no absences, so we do have a quorum. And Mr. Havlin, if you could please read us the mission statement.
Lebanon Community School Corporation challenges everyone every day to reach a new best.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Havlin. And with that, we're going to open up our pre-formal bargaining hearing with an opportunity for public to provide input. So I'll turn this over to Dr. Millman.
Sure, and officially the board's hearing, but to explain to the board what this is, we are required to hold a hearing prior to entering the formal bargaining process for the master teacher contract with the exclusive representative for Lebanon Community School Corporation, which is the Lebanon Classroom Teachers Association. This is an opportunity for the public to come forward and discuss any matters that they would like to bring forward and to be considered as part of that bargaining process, and your opportunity to ask if they are here to do that.
I guess I'll open that up to comments from the public then at this point. Do we have any comments? All right. And with that, then we'll go ahead and close this pre-formal bargaining hearing and move on to our 2027 GO bond project hearing. I'll open that up at this point. And is that Dr. Dennis?
Yes,
All
thank
right.
you, Mr. Klauser. As was stated during the budget hearing, this is a public hearing for the issuance of what we're calling a 2027 GO bond, as was shared in the budget presentation. This is a reimbursement mechanism, a cash flow mechanism in the event that cash reserves for some unknown reason begin to dwindle anytime between this evening and the future, according to current laws and statutes in Indiana. So any capital needs that may arise, whether it be vehicle purchases, bus purchases, repairs, things of that nature, this particular authorization would be utilized to pay for those expenses. And so I believe we do have a public hearing for this prior to the exhibits being considered. So if you would like to open that up before reading the resolutions.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll invite any comments from the public at this point. Anyone signed up? Anyone out there? Okay, moving on then to Exhibit A.
Exhibit A is the project resolution. This resolution effectively authorizes the overall project and what its details would be. It shares the hard and soft costs of the project, $6,615,000 of hard costs and issuance costs of $250,000. It also communicates an anticipated debt service rate of $0.2058 per $100 of assessed valuation.
Okay, so at this point, we're looking for an approval or a motion to approve Exhibit A at this point.
I'll make that motion.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions over Exhibit A? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, moving then to Exhibit B.
Thank you, Mr. Klauser. The preliminary bond resolution gets into more of the specifics on the issuance of the said debt. Again, it communicates the overall $6,865,000 in bonds. It does set specific bond terms, such as a maximum of 7% interest rate. Again, that is advertised artificially high. Issuing these today would be in the 4% range. Otherwise, just overall details of the bonds themselves.
All right. Then I would take a motion to approve Exhibit B.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Any questions? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And then lastly, Exhibit C.
Thank you. Exhibit C, the Declaration of Official Intent to Reimburse Expenditures, allows the district to reimburse itself for any capital expenditures incurred from this evening forward from this particular issuance.
All right, and I would take a motion to approve Exhibit C.
Make a motion.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and with that, we'll close the 2027 GO bond project hearing and open up our regular meeting. So we have their approval of minutes as noted in our background notes. I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from the July 21st, 2026 regular meeting.
Make a motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. And that takes us to our superintendent announcements.
Thank you, Mr. Clauser. I have several announcements and celebrations this evening. First, I just wanted to take a moment to thank our engaged community for welcoming our students back on the first day of school. It's always awesome to see town, city representatives, police, fire, all kinds of philanthropic organizations within the community with banners and signs welcoming our students back. So I just wanted to take a moment to thank everyone for their engagement and thank Lexi for organizing all of that as well for us to enjoy on the first day of school. Also wanted to take a moment to congratulate Peggy Ross, our middle school teacher of the year, distinguished educator, and Lebanon teacher of the year, who was honored with the top 25 finalists award as the Indiana Teacher of the Year. In that process, this is the fourth consecutive year that Lebanon Schools has had a teacher in the top 25 in the state of Indiana. So we appreciate all that our great teachers do and congratulate Peggy on that. It was neat to see the comments and things of that nature on Facebook and know how well she's appreciated within the community. Wanted to take a moment to honor or thank the hard work of our high school teaching staff. We've received some advanced placement data. I think it was near the time of our July board meeting, but just to give the board an update on the increase in rigorous coursework and the hard work of the teachers and students. In 2025, we gave 395 advanced placement exams. That increased to 529 exams in 2026. We had 169 students placing with a score of 3 or higher compared to 121 in 2025, and the percentage of our students receiving 3 or higher increased by 6% from the 25-26 school year compared to 24-25. That does not happen by accident. That happens by hard work of our teaching staff, training, and of course our students and parents. So congratulations to everyone, because as many of you know, that translates to dollars and cents when those students matriculate to college. So good job, everyone, on that. Staying with the theme of the high school, our graduation rate was shared by Mr. Meyer just recently. We were at 98.44% graduation rate, which is about roughly a 2-ish% increase over last year. When you're getting in above 95%, it's a little bit difficult to move that needle. So it was really excellent work again for our staff. Just found out today, and you'll be seeing that as part of the State of the Schools coming up as well, but for the second consecutive year, Lebanon High School was named one of the top best high schools in America by U.S. News and World Report. We were ranked in the top 40% of all high schools in the United States. So again, a tribute to K through 12 education, as was all of what I said before, of course, as a team effort. Our iRead results, I wanted to give some kudos out to our stellar elementary staff and leadership, Dr. Ottinger, Ms. Zinman, all of their work. 9 out of 10 students at Lebanon Community School Corporation were successful on the iRead test. And again, that's a testament to everyone's hard work. A little carve out, congratulations to Central Elementary that surpassed 97% on their pass rate of iRead. My past experience means that once they hit that number, sometimes they get invited to the State House with other school districts for some celebration. I think that number has been around 95% or so in the past, so I would anticipate perhaps an invitation down there coming up in the coming months to celebrate them. So congratulations to them on that. I mentioned briefly the State of the Schools program. We're conducting 2 of those this year. The first one will be a morning session next Wednesday, 8:30 at Lebanon Middle School. And per the request of staff, as well as several in the community, we'll be conducting an evening version of the State of Schools program, and that will be at the Hussey Mayfield Library the following Wednesday at 6:30 on September 2nd. So tomorrow, with the principals, we'll be rounding up students and staff to sit on that panel discussion and field some questions from the audience. But we're always looking forward to engage with the community and talk about the things happening in our district. And that's all I have for my announcements this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Milliman, and congratulations to everybody mentioned there, and some exciting things happening. So we'll move on to our school construction renovation update.
Nothing this evening?
Okay, great. Consent agenda, staff matters.
Yes, in front of you are recommendations. You'll see a lengthy ECA. It is that time apparently to bring all of our coaches to you in one fell swoop, and some sponsors as well along the way. So that's a long list, but respectfully request your approval of the staff recommendations this evening.
All right, and I would take a motion to approve our classified, certified, and ECA staff as noted in our background notes.
Make motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any questions regarding any of the staff matters? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. So that takes us to our consent agenda, business matters.
Thank you, Mr. Clauser. Included in this is the 10-year projection that represents year 1 and then the following years thereafter of that strategic spend down of cash reserves that I shared in the budget hearing. Obviously, every year that follows, we can take a more aggressive bite out of this, but again, year 1 is obviously the most aggressive of said years. Other than that, happy to answer any questions about the remaining portions of the financial update prior to reading the claims.
No, I just note too, if anybody is curious, there is a more in-depth breakdown of some of that strategic spend down in the budget meeting, which will be posted along with this meeting as well. Any other questions? All right, I think we can move on to our claims.
Perfect. I'll read the claims then. So payroll for the period of $2,096,834.85. Claims, $2,596,365.66. Total between the two of $4,693,200.51.
All right. I'll take a motion to approve as read by Dr. Dennis so eloquently there.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions?
I won't repeat the dollar amount.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Comments from the public? Nobody has been signed up, so that'll take us to our action items, our change orders. Dr. Dennis.
Change orders for this month, I would say fairly standard. I had an unforeseen condition at the high school, a wall behind a wall, masonry wall behind a drywall wall that needed to be shored and taken care of. That's the main bulk of the expenditures at the high school. Otherwise, doing very well with the contingency items at all schools, but the remaining schools besides the high school as well. So any questions on those, happy to answer. Otherwise, appreciate the board's consideration.
All right. Any questions regarding the change orders? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the change orders.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution to transfer reoccurring amounts from educational fund to operations fund.
Thank you, Mr. Clauser. First item of action for the 2027 budget is our annual resolution to transfer dollars from the education fund to the operations fund. Again, statutorily advised, not mandated, to keep that at 15%. If you go beyond the 15%, you do have to state that publicly in a board meeting and post it on your website. However, the resolution I'm placing in front of you does not exceed that 15%. It is right at that 15% with a projection of actually transferring just 13%, so $415,000 monthly.
Okay, terrific. Any questions over that? All right, with hearing none, I'll make the motion to approve the resolution as outlined in our background notes. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And our renewal of the Parent Square agreement.
I believe most of the board is very familiar with Parent Square, and that is our preferred and quite honestly, I'll say mandated way, shy of email, of communicating with students and parents. We had previously been on a year-to-year engagement with Parent Square, which was fine. There was no interruption of service, but it also doesn't always give you the best pricing. And so when we received a jump of about $6,000, and to put that in perspective, previous year was $21,000. Their first blush at a renewal for this year was just shy of $30,000 is what they were asking for us from this year. So reaching out to them, they explained that a further engagement beyond just a year-to-year would offer us better pricing. I think I state and speak for the majority of our administrators that Parent Square is very likely here to stay as our communication method. And so with that, I utilized the 5-year. They proposed a 3-year term. And then a 5-year term, the 5-year, of course, receiving better pricing. Of note to the board, this contract is compliant with recent state law stating no more evergreen contracts where contracts just continue absent a stoppage. They have to stop now. And then also part of that law, and that has always been the case, and I'll give Mr. Franson kudos. Many contracts, people want to do business in Indiana, however, they don't want any disputes to be resolved by the law of Indiana. Mr. Franson always was fantastic about getting that changed, but new state law does mandate that. So this contract is compliant according to that new state law.
Okay, terrific.
And Branson law.
Yeah, in France and law. All right, any questions over the Parent Square agreement? All right,
Are we
Harry.
going to send out the notice that we're extending it by Parent Square?
We certainly can.
I'll make that motion.
All right. I've got a motion to approve the Parent Square agreement. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Our renewal of services with Policy Analytics.
Again, for reasons that were divulged during the budget presentation this evening, this is a very valuable partnership for us that gives us a deep dive into the analytics of our property tax base, and so bringing to you the engagement to renew these services. Again, this is kind of the normal product that they have, which is 3 updates per year, one with the fall AV, and then one after the budget order, and then one over the summer with any changes that come from legislation. Again, this dive into the potential one of 2 budgets may require, a lot of times we do have some money left over on our contract for them to utilize in these special projects, but I may be coming back to the board with more for some specialized data as a result of our budgets here. But otherwise, this is just for the normal 3 reports as part of the general package.
All right, any questions over the renewal with Policy Analytics? I'll make the motion to approve the engagement letter as outlined in our background notes. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Request for authority to negotiate a final lease agreement.
Yeah, not sure, again, I appreciate the board's action on this item, but I don't have anything to bring to the board in the way of a lease right now. I guess I wanted to take this opportunity at the board meeting this evening to recognize that we had one interested party in the rental of 1810 North Grant, and that was Edward Jones. They have a variety of offices, small offices located throughout town, and they apparently have a desire to consolidate those all into one space. They've been a fantastic partner of the school corporation, and this is, you know, all lease agreements aside. They do a great service to our employees with retirement advising and also kind of the oversight of their TURF, their teachers' retirement fund accounts. They did offer $10,500 per month, which is above the statutory minimum that we have to accept. They do want to do quite a bit of renovations at that property. Of course, they would pay for that. There are some unique terms that the district requires of this lease agreement, and I'm just simply asking for the board's authority to negotiate on their behalf with the real estate partners at Edward Jones to hopefully bring you a finalized lease that the board can execute. So there will be further action on this in the future. I just want to recognize that we do have an official interested party that is agreeable to pay more than the minimum, and that I do not have a lease currently, but I hope to reduce our lease to terms within a month or two and bring that back to the board for final consideration.
Okay, and with that, any questions?
If you don't mind, I would just add to the board that, of course, there's lots of questions about the use of that facility and have been, and I think it would be a good opportunity to talk about that just briefly at this action, or at this item, and then again when the lease comes up. You know, one of the things that we had discussed and have discussed is the need of some type of program that supports students and families that may need a non-traditional approach to education, i.e. An alternative to the brick and mortar, daily traditional schedule. And throughout the process of moving to our current central office, I know that was one of the things that was talked about with staff and administration and school board, mostly in informal settings, about what that could be used for. I just remind the board that more so even now in 2026, it seems like it's moving quickly, that virtual, online coursework is part of that non-traditional environment, and certainly has begun to fit that need. So a lot of us that are sitting up here think about alternative settings to the traditional school, might have thought about it being more in person. You're seeing more and more virtual settings. Not that there can't be the human touch, if you will, opportunities, especially when you're talking about high school students who need to engage in graduation pathways, workplace participation, the standardized testing that's required of the students. We will be, as you know, through the athletic project, be constructing a new strength and conditioning room, which means that we'll have a space in this building that we'll be able to repurpose for some of that purpose as well in the future. One that could potentially have a separate entrance, one that could have kind of a separate administration area, et cetera, and also would give us access to food service that's still in the building as well, but have some of that separation for some of those partial day engagements that we might need to have and intake meetings with students. So we'll have some facility options down the road, but we're seeing more of that virtual need. And we'll be bringing to the board in the coming months some proposals of us opening a virtual school as well as part of that. So I just wanted folks to know and the board to know that that need for a non-traditional setting has not been lost on the administration, and we see that as a need, but maybe that former building at 1810 is not the best location for that. And number two, this group that has expressed an interest, as Dr. Dennis mentioned, is someone who has engaged with us and is the provider of the retirement funds for our staff. And so I think having them near and on our campuses will be a huge benefit to our employees to be able to get that advice and to be able to have that right here. And number three, if we were to transform that into some type of a classroom environment now, it's hard to go back, right, to an office setting. And in 10 years, after this engagement, if there's something that the district feels is necessary, that we need an office space, we would be able to have an office space. It's certainly difficult to go backwards once you open up a space like that. So I think having that revenue source for the district in this funding environment is a good move for the district. I just felt it was good to maybe kind of unpack a little bit for the board, because I know there's some questions about that space and, you know, what about this and what about that? But I think this is the prudent way forward for these 10 years to give us options down the road. So I just wanted to mention that to the board, the thought process behind this. We really haven't taken the time to outline that for everyone. So be happy to answer any questions, as you said.
All right, great. Any questions on that? Thanks for that kind of further breakdown, Dr. Milliman. Hearing none, I would take a motion for the approval of the request to just negotiate a final lease agreement, not the final lease agreement itself, just the ability to negotiate.
Make a motion.
And can I get a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Takes us to a 26-27 school calendar and proposed 27-28 school calendar.
Yes, the revision for 26-27 is really just to make sure that the calendar we put on the website includes the makeup day at the end of the normal calendar. This does not change any vacation days. It does not change any of the currently approved. But Mr. Martin, in his thoroughness, wanted to make sure that anything published on the website was actually approved by the board. We have to go 180 school days. We would have had to gone one way or another, but this is just to reflect that. The 27-28 calendar is, for all intents and purposes, a mirror image of this year's calendar. Same approach to vacations, et cetera. It does move graduation back. As you know, the calendar flips, and so it does move the graduation to the Friday prior to Memorial Day, but other than that, it's a standard calendar that we've had in the recent past.
All right. Questions? All right, with that, I'd take a motion to approve the revisions of the 26-27 school calendar and the proposed 27-28 school calendar. And I will second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, second reading of policy updates.
Yes, there in front of you is, again, Mr. Martin's update, making that wellness policy compliant with some of the new regulations.
Perfect. Any questions over that? All right, I'll make the motion to... Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the second reading of the policy updates, specifically the 8510 wellness update. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, and then I think we have an
Yes.
additional item.
Yeah, Mr. Franson stopped by our office this afternoon. The board was aware of some of the easement conversation. They're near Perryworth Elementary. Dr. Dennis, you want to give some background to this as well?
Yeah, last month I presented two easements that at the time legal was under the impression were both under the jurisdiction of the building corporation. When it came time to execute those two easements, further scrutiny by Mr. Franzen found that one of them actually was still on school board property. So again, these are easements for citizens. Again, they will be taken by eminent domain if the school board would not approve, and the offer is for $30,000 for said property, I think a tenth of an acre. And that was negotiated up by Mr. Franson, so appreciate his efforts with citizens for this. But essentially asking the board this evening to approve granting of an easement to Citizens Energy Group down by Perryworth.
I think it would require a motion to add an agenda item and then another motion once it's added to approve it. So this was one this afternoon. We just felt it was one that had been discussed, and so we felt okay in asking you to add this to the agenda this evening.
All right, so with that, I would take a motion, I guess I'll make the motion to add the uniform easement acquisition offer as an action item under the regular, for the purpose of the regular meeting, if I could get a second.
I'll second.
All right, any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And then I would take a motion to approve the uniform easement acquisition offer as outlined in the copy in front of us.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions over the easement offer?
This is an easement, and we're sure it's not on any, no buildings or anything else like that. It's out at the road, correct?
Yes, at the road.
Easement, we still own it, just giving up the rights.
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm assuming Mr. Franson signs off on this in terms of the valuation at this point.
He's the one who negotiated the valuation.
Okay, perfect. All right, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, upcoming board meetings and events are September 15th, 2026. Regular board meeting will be held here in the Herman B. Wells Community Center. September 17th, the Thursday following, in the Prairie Creek Meeting Room at Central Office. We're going to be having the joint work session with the City of Lebanon and the Town of Whitestown, as well as, ample opportunities to check out all of our kids playing sports out there here as the fall seasons kick off. So everybody hopefully can get out there and support some of them as well. So with that,